Syria's political exile is over. President Bashar Al-Assad landed in Saudi Arabia on Thursday. He attended the Arab League summit in Jeddah. It reaffirms the old saying, anything is possible in politics. These same leaders and kings tried to topple him in the last decade. They banished him from the Arab League in 2011, but 12 years later, Assad is back.
It is important to leave internal affairs of the country's people as they are best able to manage their own affairs. There is an added hope amid the Arab as well as the Arab regional and international rapprochement brought in by this summit, which I hope will signal a new phase in Arab coordination and solidarity among us, and peace and prosperity in our region instead of war and destruction.
So why is Bashar al-Assad back? We can think of three major reasons. Number one, because Assad is now a political reality. The civil war may not be over, but the regime in Damascus is secure. It is virtually impossible to topple Bashar al-Assad now. He controls most of the country, including the big cities in Syria. So the Arab League had two options. A, keep denying Assad's consolidated position, or B, start engaging with him. The League went with option 2, they're engaging with him. 13 out of 22 members voted to restore Syria's membership. It's not overwhelming, but the Arab League's big shots were on board. That's Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Reason number 2 why Assad is back is to counter Iranian influence. Tehran supported Assad's regime throughout the last decade. They gave him things that the Arab League did not: financial help, military assistance, political legitimacy. So the Arab countries are rushing to change course. They cannot afford another pro-Iran country in the region. Reason number 3 for Assad's re-entry: America's lack of interest in West Asia. Once the US left the region, the picture was clearer. The Arab countries had to sort out their own mess. Hence the move to restore Syria. Symbolically, it's huge. Arab countries have accepted that Assad is in charge of his country, that he is the legitimate ruler. But does this change anything on the ground? Assad does need political legitimacy, but what he needs even more is money. The civil war has battered Syria. Around half the population has fled their homes. 6 million have fled the country. The infrastructure is virtually non-existent. So Assad needs money to rebuild his country. How much money are we talking about? In 2019, a UN report said $250 billion. That's 4 times Syria's GDP before the war. 4 times. Another report in 2023 said they need $1 trillion. Iran doesn't have that kind of money, neither does Russia. That's Assad's other ally. Well, guess who does? The Gulf Arab states. Saudi Arabia and the UAE can easily foot this bill. One problem stands in their way, though. That's Western sanctions. The US and Europe have criticized Syria's readmission into the Arab League. They say the time is not right. So unless the sanctions are lifted, the money will not flow. It's only a matter of time, though. The Arab states have enough leverage over Washington, which means sanctions relief will happen at some point. I know Syria is the big headline at the moment in this summit, but there's a larger political story here. The Arab League has always been considered a failed organization, too divided, too powerless, too ineffective. But Saudi Arabia is hoping to change that. They've normalized relations with Iran. They welcomed Syria back into the fold, and they seem lukewarm towards Israel. What do these moves signal? An acceptance of political realities. America's withdrawal seems to have liberated Arab policy, and Riyadh is taking the lead. They're pursuing twin policies on Iran. First, normalizing ties and opening lines of communication, and secondly, preparing a united Arab front. Riyadh knows only a united Arab world can take on Iran, and that is the big story here. An independent Arab world pursuing strategic autonomy. We saw another example of that today. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was also in Jeddah. He attended the Arab League summit. Most of these countries have refused to condemn Russia's war. Some, like Syria, are in open support of Russia. Yet they invited Zelensky to attend their summit. Why is that? To tell Russia that lack of condemnation is not support. It's great how the tables have turned, really. The US and great powers used West Asia as their playground in the last century. Today, they are keeping the big powers guessing. The future is indeed multipolar.